Yes. So welcome, and you're joining us tonight from live from Untitled Gallery. Wait, can I? Yes. So
Nice.
this is on the occasion of Daniel Kingery's exhibition, which we opened last night. It was well attended.
Nice.
And yeah, so the title of the exhibition is Through the Looking Glass, and the works we're discussing are all oil and acrylic paintings on canvas.
Mm-hmm.
And they're based on iconic book covers, let's say, and the figures are blocked or obscured by the
Mm-hmm.
surface of a smartphone. So we wanted, Theodora and me, my gallery partner, we wanted to talk to you about your paintings and smartphones and screens and what it
Mm-hmm.
means to look and to be looked at today.
Mm-hmm. Great.
So maybe we start simply, like when did the smartphone enter your paintings, and how did it make its way? I know you
Uh-huh.
had the screenshot paintings. Maybe
Yeah.
you want to talk about this briefly?
Yeah. This is I think that's a good bridge or a transition. Yeah, the first paintings that I made that were of used a smartphone explicitly were the iPhone self-portraits that I did, which there are about 17 or so of those that are pretty large format. So they're paintings of screenshots of my the lock screen of my phone and the music that I'm listening to at that moment. And they're also, I consider them to be a proxy self-portrait. They're all called self-portrait, and they are. It's not like a greatest hits or this is my favorite music or something like that. It's more about each image has to have a portrait in it. Each image has to have something in the title that has some kind of resonance for me in my life and my story and my history. And each of the musicians or artists that I selected also have to have a kind of like personal significance for me. And for that series, I chose there was a lot of the music was kind of from like the 70s and 80s and even some of the 60s. That's not even necessarily the music I mostly listen to, especially not today, but I wanted to bring in different elements of time into one painting so that you had, on the one hand, like the very current or contemporary of the smartphone screen. Then you have the longer history of portrait painting that goes back obviously hundreds and even thousands of years. And then you have also the kind of recent past of, 70s or 80s musicians and songs and album covers, which is the heyday of vinyl. And I used vinyl covers to paint from. I didn't paint just from like the screenshot of the smartphone screen. To paint the album covers, I have the actual vinyl, and I would use that to paint from. So it's all kind of from the heyday of when people still bought vinyl.
Nice.
Well, that's a background for that, but I guess you want to know more about how that turned into these paintings or something, right?
Yes, and what happens to these icons or the figures when they're partially erased or blocked, or I'm missing the
Mm-hmm.
right word for what's happening there.
Yeah. I think obscured was the right word. So yeah, I think that a lot of the work that I've been making since I've been in New York, which has now been over a decade, is come from a lot of collage making that I started to do around the time, sort of like the last few years I was in Berlin and the first few years I was in New York, and collage really became the basis for a lot of the paintings. And a lot of those collages relied on something covering up something else, so you'd only see it at the margins. And I found that that was really an interesting visual strategy or something, that if you see just like the edges of something, it kind of makes you curious about what's covered up or what's underneath. And the these paintings in particular, and even the iPhone self-portraits, which I didn't start actually painting them until 2015, but I got the idea for it around late 2013. And a lot of the ideas just come from like a moment of just seeing something, and it just strikes me, and it just resonates somehow, and I just think, okay, actually that would be a great painting. And for the iPhone self-portraits, I was just seeing my lock screen with, I think, a Prince song playing and the album uh, art large, and I immediately thought, wow, that's actually, there's something really iconic about that image and just the way it's displayed, and whatever design choices and fonts and everything that Apple uses to get to this design, which is constantly changing. And then with this Through the Looking Glass series, I was reading the book that's on Bowie, and just had the I had just placed the book down, and I had placed my phone on top of it, and I just looked at it, and all of a sudden I was like, wow, that looks really, something about it's really interesting. And then I took a picture of that, and then when I took the picture, I noticed that I had my own, and it was my wife's phone then, because I had to take a picture of something, right? So her phone's on it, and I took a picture with my phone, and then I could see myself just really faintly and a little bit of an outline of the other smartphone. So then you have this kind of Las Meninas effect or something of, there's like someone's looking at the painting and they're being looked back at, but that person who's being looking back at them is partially obscured. The viewer is in the position of where the screen is, and the screen then becomes a mirror. So it becomes a portrait also of me reflected in the book, but at the same time you can hardly see me, and the viewer becomes the person who's creating the reflection, and that reflection is me. So there becomes a kind of circular dialogue between the painting, the subject matter, the painter, and the viewer.
May I ask you something? Do you remember with whom did you start this series actually back in 2013 or 2000?
Yeah. So the first two paintings I made, and it became a kind of like strange moment, as I didn't end up a lot of times I have ideas for paintings, and then I have a huge backlog of ideas for paintings, and I don't always just make them in the order that I have the idea. Sometimes I sit on an idea for a while and then I come back to it later. But anyway, I started to make that series in 2015, late 2015, and the first two I made were, the first one was David Bowie.
Okay.
It was Young Americans, Can You Hear Me? And then I did Prince, just one of his self-titled albums where it's on the blue cover. And that one just had the date and time because it seemed sort of more iconic to me that way. And then within a few months, both of them died. So it was kind of like when I had people
David
come
Bowie and who
and
was the second?
Prince,
And
Prince.
Prince. All
Yeah.
right. Well,
So
you
they both died
started with the
shortly
biggest
after.
icon, so
And I remember having studio visits shortly after, right around the time that they died, and people thought that I had done them in response to their deaths, but I'm like,
yeah.
no, I did it before then. It was like a,
And the
little
Prince work is
premonition.
gone, I imagine, or
Uh, the Prince work, no, I actually have that work still.
okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I would like to see it.
yeah. Well, when you come over, I can show it to you. There's actually two from Prince, and there's two of David Bowie in that series. But yeah, the first two I did were them.
And may I ask one more question? I always ask Kai, how do you know the artist that you bring? Because for me, that's very important in the work we do as
Hmm.
gallerists. It really starts from most of the cases from a very kind of deep relationship or friendship, or rarely it's someone that came out of the blue. So can you tell us how do you know Kai? And it's weird coincidence now that he shows you in Sofia. He flew from Berlin there. Meanwhile, I came here and we made like a almost a circle.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Uh, so Kai and I have known each other for a very, very long time, and we were in a band together originally. Uh, Back
So
when,
music connects you actually.
yeah, yeah, we were in a band for a number of years, and then we were friends in addition to being in the band. Even when we decided to stop doing we stopped doing the band around 2007. And even though it was a lot of fun, and I think in a lot of ways it was a really successful musical project, and I still like a lot of the music that we made. We had a really good musical chemistry of just coming up with songs really quickly together, and just being on the same page, and just being able to, music is so, like a lot of art, it's so intuitive, and
Where
just
was
having like,
that? In Berlin or no?
That was in
In
Berlin.
Berlin.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We played like I think we played probably like maybe like 4 to maximum 6 shows per year for like maybe 4 years. It
Oh,
was
that
more of
was
a
a big, like a continued project. I thought it was with a shorter lifespan, but
No,
that's
it
a
was yeah.
while.
Yeah, we recorded we recorded music and stuff like that. I'm actually planning to put it out
Nice.
on Spotify sometime, probably this coming year. We started off as a band, and then at the time I was 23, and I think I was like 19 or something like that. And
Yeah, I was 19.
yeah. And then anyway,
That's great.
always been friends outside of having, been in a band together. And Kai and I have been close and known each other for a really long time. And he's seen me also personally and artistically through every, phase of my life, from when we were just starting out really young to all of the different artistic developments and things I was doing while I was in Berlin and then moving to New York. And Kai's come to New York a few different times, and we've always had the chance to meet up again
Amazing.
here. So yeah.
And your educational background, is there something related to music as well, or what is it like?
Yeah, not in I didn't study music, but I've always made music. And I
But you
actually
did
was
fine arts or not?
yes. So I
Yeah.
did I did a kind of like double major when I went to University of Chicago, and I
Mhm.
did art and English. I did both.
Okay.
And then I went to Berlin, and there I studied with at the UDK for maybe it was 3 years or something like that. In the class of Ikemura was the
Which
professor.
is the art school in Berlin, UDK.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Like
yeah,
fine arts.
fine
Yes.
arts. Yeah, yeah,
Great.
yeah.
So we
Music was. Well, go ahead, Kai. Go ahead.
we go back to the exhibition real quick.
Yeah.
Um, you already mentioned you call it the smartphone a mirror. Like, and
Hmm.
is it more of a barrier, or do you see it more as a mirror? And after that, we can maybe talk about um, how to, how to describe the different layers of the
Hmm.
thing.
Yeah, I think it could be either a barrier or a mirror. It depends on the person and the situation. I think that any technology or any medium can be a lot of different things, and it really depends. Like I've had people say to me before, I think people see obviously just through the lens of their own prejudice, however they feel about something. So I've had people say to me before about the iPhone's self-portrait series, oh, this is like a critique of how terrible smartphones are. Or this is a critique about how stupid pop music is, which is not what it's not what it is for me. I don't see the smartphone as inherently good or bad. And I don't, I think a lot of people, there's a big prejudice, I think, towards pop music as well, that it's this kind of like vapid opioid for the masses or something like that. But I don't personally see it that way. I'm a fan of the musicians and people who I'm portraying, and it's not about some critique of how terrible popular culture is or something like that at all. I think people you paint what you make art about what you love, and these are the things that I love and celebrate in a lot of ways. And if someone's sees it differently, they're going to see that in it. I'm sorry, I kind of got strayed from your original question though.
No, no,
Maybe
no.
like the phone is another tool in that case. Like, I mean, painting is a tool to express yourself. Phones
Hmm.
are tools to, we nowadays also express ourselves through our image we project on social medias. Does it
Hmm.
connect somehow to this image making of the modern society?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's, I guess one of the things that attracted me to using the smartphone and the screenshot and this kind of thing was that it is a kind of a portal. That's what I'm alluding to. I think it's through the looking glass, which refers to some of the books that are like the Alice in Wonderland books where she goes through a portal through a looking glass into another world, and smartphone screen is kind of a, you know, it's the way, like nowadays, like with music, that's the main, even though I have vinyl, I do listen to it. The main way that I listen to music, and most of us do, is through our phone. And the main way we interact with, I'm not going to say the main way we interact with the world. We interact with the world in so many ways, but a big portal to so many things, whether it's the news or social media or, you know, shopping or whatever, any countless number of things, the screen is a kind of portal. So it becomes in a way a mirror of, I'm not saying it's like exactly defines who we are or something like that, but your choices define who you are and the kinds of choices you make online, or what kind of music you listen to, or you know, what you're seeing and consuming in terms of media, are all some aspects of how we reflect ourselves in the world. And I think when we're reviewing a work of art, that what an artwork does is also kind of reflects the world that we live in back towards us. So the artist takes their personal experience of that and creates, in this case, an image, and then the viewer interacts with that image and it becomes another mirror. So there's a kind of like double mirror or something situation happening.
It's funny because this conversation itself is via portal with the iPhone from three
Mm-hmm.
locations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. But also in the paintings are so many layers. There's the printed book, then there's the
Yeah.
smartphone, which is a mirror, which is showing the artist and kind of also reflects the viewer in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, how did this, or yeah, what about it?
Yeah, yeah. I think there's like a few. I was thinking about this earlier today, and also just thinking about, you know, also all the time that you and I have known each other, Kai, and thinking back to kind of my artistic trajectory or development. There was a few moments in Berlin of early even where I made works that I knew at the time were successful, but in retrospect now also kind of set the tone for this in some ways. And I think one of them was I did this diptych. I don't know if you remember this, but there was a diptych of I took photos in the window in the apartment that I lived in on Warschauer Straße with my roommate Kate, and I did a diptych where it showed her and me in two different paintings with like double reflections, and the lights from outside and inside, and the camera, and she's kind of like looking towards the second painting that I'm in, and uh, it had this kind of self-portrait and also had like different layers and things going on and reflections. And I remember that those paintings, people could see, people had a sense that it was about something more than just what you see, that there was something deeper going on, I guess, about a relationship to the you know, a dialogue about painting, an interaction between different paintings, a relationship to the viewer, and an exploration of kind of like questioning what is underlying the self. And I see that that you know, seed of that sort of idea is really what's animating my paintings that I've made since, you know, over the past like 12 years or so.
Do you know what it came to my mind? Do you remember this myth about Narcissus who was so in love of himself, and by looking himself into into his image into the water, he got drowned?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I, I, I I mean, I'm not referencing it to you, but do you think we can get lost somewhere in our image making and projections with the new
Sure.
world we're
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
living in?
as you can tell from the show, I'm a huge fan of Caravaggio. He's one of the artists who I chose as a, you know, one of the book covers, his Taschen catalog raisonné. And he has a really amazing painting of Narcissus that's in Rome, you know, looking down into the water and just seeing his own reflection. And I think that there is, yeah, I mean, there's definitely like a narcissistic element to social media, to our relationships with the smartphone. And I think that's also one of the reasons why, even though my work has been about the the self and portraiture and also self-portraiture. I've removed my own self from that in a lot of ways. Like the iPhone self-portraits, even though they're about my own story, they don't, and they're considered self-portraits. They don't show me directly. They show something that's in a way generic or that's available to anyone. And here too, you see me, you see a vague outline, and you can, if someone who knows me will kind of maybe recognize that.
Yeah,
But
but the
I'm
others can't say it's you or not, whether it's you
it's
or not.
yeah, it's very obscured. It's very like just a very vague sort of shadowy presence there. And I love Jack Goldstein is one of my favorite artists. And even though he did a lot of work that was, airbrushed by assistants and that sort of thing, he was also kind of erasing the self from the work. And I'm not entire. I mean, my work is about the self in a very fundamental way. But it's also a little bit obscured. That's one of the reasons why James Joyce is such a touchstone. He's another one of the paintings in there, is that James Joyce was he did Portrait of the Artist as a young man, and Ulysses, where there's a character that's based on him, and in a way his work can be seen as kind of, I mean, especially Portrait of the Artist as a young man, but even Ulysses and other works are sort of autobiographical in a way, but in a way they're also coded. He took, I guess you could call them modernist experiments in storytelling, and took them to this kind of extreme of, it incorporates so much, and it's, sure, it reveals a lot about him and his life, but in a way that's also kind of obscured. Like it's coded into something that's a lot more. It's not a one-to-one autobiography or something like that. He's using the material of his life, but he's transforming it into something that's like a little bit, that's kind of its own language and its own code, and it's something you have to decipher. It's not just like a confessional literature or something. And I think that my work has something of that too. That's one of the reasons why he's one of the big touchstones for me.
Maybe we can have some audience questions.
Sure.
If anyone wants to comment a question they have for Daniel. Okay, let's see. And how long does it take? How long did you paint these works for? Is it like a continuous thing, or do you end up coming back or?
I usually do them one at a time, and it's hard to say exactly how long in a way, because for one, as you know, I'm also, I live in New York, and I'm working as well, so I'm not like in the studio the whole day, every day. In addition to that, I have two small children, so my time working on it is broken up. But they're not, I try not to, although I think some people probably would consider the work to be photorealistic. I don't really personally think of it that way. For me, it's more about, I look more at portrait painting, like older historical portrait painting, and that's more inspiring to me about the way to paint it than some kind of a photorealistic mode or something like that. So I think that when you see them small, it's hard to tell, but when you see them up close, you see a lot of like the brushwork, and it's not like a super. It's not like an expressionistic painting, but I don't try to hide the brushwork. I don't try to just do thin glazes and make everything disappear into something that looks like a photo. You see that it's a painting, I think, especially in person. You see, and I look at, painting, especially I love some of the English portrait painters like Sir Thomas Lawrence. I love like Anton van Dyck, people like that. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. And I think, with you were looking at the Duchamp painting, that it's it's coming from this tradition on the one hand portrait painting is coming under another tradition of conceptual art that Duchamp's kind of the originator of taking found objects, taking things that also led later to like pop art or to artists of the pictures generation like Jack Goldstein, who I also look at a lot. And it's combining those. It has a foot in both worlds, both the world of painting, even very traditional painting, and in the world of conceptual art, of like the found object, or of pop art, or something along those lines. And with Duchamp, it's, that also, that book cover and just his profile and everything becomes, he's got such an iconic profile, just like the shape of his nose and everything like that, and then having it covered up. Yeah, I think we reflect, I'm also reflecting myself in the artists and then the musicians, the different people who've inspired me and influenced my work in different ways. And this is just a way to show that kind of like, and I think everybody does that, the books you read, the music you listen to, all these things that are it becomes a part of who you are. And I'm, in this spirit especially, I'm not saying like, oh, I'm just like James Joyce, or I'm just like Duchamp, or I'm just like Caravaggio. There's elements, and I actually wrote an essay for each of the individual paintings about why I chose that person. And there's just something about each of them. There's some element of them that's like touched me or influenced me in some kind of a more profound way. And that's why I chose each of them.
Do you mind sharing the written texts?
Sure. Yeah, I can send those to you. I think Kai might have them just because I've usually sent them out in like a part of my email newsletter, but I can send them to
Nice.
the two of you as well.
I'll
Uh,
be curious to take a look on them.
yeah, I'd be happy to send those, definitely.
Right. We don't have any questions from the audience.
They're
So,
shy.
That's all
They're
right.
afraid to get out of their glass.
To go through the looking glass, right?
yeah, exactly. So, any
Too
more?
bad you couldn't come to Sofia, but maybe one day.
Yeah. It didn't work out this time, unfortunately, but we were talking about maybe doing something in Berlin over the summer, so something might come together there.
For sure.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so I think, yeah, we can maybe wrap it up.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Sounds good.
Yeah, well,
Thank you, Daniel. It was lovely seeing you.
Yeah, likewise. And let me know then when you're in the city, and
Yeah, we'll
we'll
be
meet
in
up.
touch.
Okay,
I will let you know. And
sounds
thanks,
good.
Kai, for hosting our show in Sofia,
Yes,
all on your own,
thank you. Yeah.
with all the heavy work as usual, the
Mm,
installing.
yeah. And
yeah.
yeah, thank you guys. And yeah, the exhibition will be on until I think 14th of February.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So on view in Sofia in Bulgaria. And yeah, thanks also to our audience for joining. And
Yeah.
and happy holidays, guys.
yeah,
Yes.
Stay
happy.
well, enjoy yourselves, take some rest, and we start the new year with new powers.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Good to see you guys. Thank
Good.
you. Thank you everybody for joining.
Thanks.
Ciao.
Bye.
Okay.